All right. I mean, first of all, great content, really nice. I'm glad Pro Review is making its return. Shout out to Josh for that one.
Shout out to Baloo, dude.
Yeah, really nice seeing. It's really nice seeing players willing to talk about their thought processes during games and everything like that, and sharing that with not only us but the audience as well.
Yeah, he's really good too. Like he's another player that could have been in our top 5s, but he hadn't played a lot at that point, so we hadn't seen him yet.
Yeah,
on Saturday, I actually got an interview with him as well after he had a super great performance, because I was the flex that day. But he's a really nice guy, really down to earth, and I'm really excited about his future career.
Yeah, a lot to be excited about there. And overall, I think that first game, was pretty open and shut. So we're just going to go ahead and go right to the halftime show. We're going to play a game that I made up last night called Summoner's Feud. I pulled 41 gamers.
Oh, that's
Twitter.
why you had
That's why I had the
thing on
form.
Twitter.
That's right. Yeah, so if you guys filled it out, first of all, thank you. And you're also contributing to this.
Woo!
So
I'll be honest, I was out with my girlfriend.
I took a look at it and it was like, nah, I think it would be cheating if I did this.
You knew that, so you knew it was for today.
I didn't know what it was, like what it was going to be, but I was like, I didn't even look. I just saw that you posted on Twitter. So if you want to be part of future Beatdown content, just go ahead and follow him, Beatdowncast.
Yeah, that's right. You could be on the next one, because I'm definitely going to bring this show back. So, yeah, I mean, you could probably guess how this one is going to work. I polled 41 people at the end of it, asking them various questions about teams in the NACL. And basically how we're going to run this is, I'm going to start with you, Magical. I'm going to ask you a question. I took 4 of the top responses. You don't buzz in. This is too hard to do online. So...
Buzz.
So wait, what's your host name? Hold on, we gotta establish your game show host name.
You know what? Between now and our second halftime show, I'll think of it. Only you could say that, Josh. All right. So Alex, question number 1. By the way, guys, I'm adding a little twist to this one. If you get an answer wrong, you lose a point. Can't be negative, but you will stay at 0. So Alex.
Okay.
Who do you think is the best player in the NACL? That was the first question I asked the audience.
Oh, no. You're asking the audience.
Yes, who did the audience think?
The worst part is we're asking Twitter. They're even worse than Twitch chat.
Moose Hater.
You know what? Moose Hater was one of the answers.
Why he's in the top 4?
That literally,
that's wild.
Yeah, he was the top 4. People put it in. I can guess based on who said they responded, who put it in there, but they put it in there. So that's 1 point for Magical. Woo! And, I mean, you get to... I'm going to give you a chance to keep guessing, because you go for a little bit of a streak here.
Man.
So there are 3 people left. Who else was on there?
The top
best player.
If M&S is not on this, I'm going to be a little upset, so I'm going to go with M&S.
M&S is correct. That actually had the most votes. Surprising literally nobody.
The first guess.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't guess it is purely because
it's Twitter.
Yeah. Because I'm like, okay, they're probably gonna put someone like me up there. So I'm gonna go with this. And then I'm like, okay, this is the serious one since I've secured a point. And now I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna skip.
You're gonna skip.
That's good, because I forgot to tell you that was an option, and also it makes it so that you don't lose the 2 points you got for yourself.
That's pretty much why I'm like, I'm skipping. I got the 2 that I thought were going to be on there.
All right, Josh, we have 2 more guesses from Twitter.
And I can't go into negative, right? So I have
you can't
no
go into
reason
negative.
not
So
to guess.
you're good.
All right, who does Twitter think is good?
My only hint is they weren't. Moose Hater was the only grief answer.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Only grief answer.
Look, man, you know it. Look, we're all thinking.
Okay, but
he's good.
Hold on. Let's say that Moose Hater is good, though. We're not trying to say that he's
Moose
not
Hater's a good player.
So don't
look,
take us
there's
out
a
of
Dom
context
copy
for that.
pasta there for sure. Let's go with Shaden.
Oh, Shaden is not on the list.
Whoa!
I'm sorry.
This is why I'm glad I skipped.
Dang. Was that your guess too?
That would have been my third guess.
Okay, dang. All right.
That's
Do I get
brutal.
another one, or am I done? Am I cut off?
You're done for this one, but you can start for the next one.
Minus 100.
Wait,
we just went over this, Cynthia.
No.
Hey, just because you decided there were no negative points didn't mean production agreed with that.
I guess production overrules me on my game.
Dang.
I'm sorry, Josh.
Who are the other 2?
The other 2 were APA and Bradley.
Oh,
Bradley was going to be my other guess.
Bradley.
Yeah.
APA, though,
I'm a
Twitter's they have some favorites for sure.
I got some taste a little bit, so it's okay. You're still at 0. You can't actually be negative, and now you're going to start off the next one, which should make things easier. All right. The next question I asked the audience of Twitter: who do you think is the best team in NACL?
Oh man, but it's Twitter.
I know.
All right, 4 answers on the board again.
There are 4 answers on the board again.
Okay. Wild card.
Wild card is on the list.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That would have been my first guess too, because I'm like, okay, wild card's definitely gonna be on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's with the fact that both Bradley and APR are on there, there's no way that Team Liquid Challengers is not on the list.
And Josh, you're correct. Team Liquid Challengers had the second highest votes.
Was wildcard number 1?
No, wildcard was number 3.
I think I know who number 1 is.
All right.
But I want to see what it's Josh's turn still, unless he wants to skip.
Josh's turn.
Oh man. All right, I'm gonna go for it.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that Twitter says that Cincinnati Fear is the best team.
Oh, sorry, Josh. I know you're trying to get into their heads,
Yeah.
but you're gonna lose a point for that one.
I'm immediately gonna go with, since it's my turn, since you got it wrong, Cloud9 Challengers.
Yeah, that was the number 1 guess.
Fear, why are you doing this to me,
so.
man?
I know it's so hard to know.
I agree with them, but it's like,
yeah. That's why I'm like, the reason when he said it was the number 2 for Team Liquid, I'm like, okay, Cloud9.
All right, okay. We're gonna do one more question because draft is gonna be ready soon. Josh, I'm gonna let you start again just to give you a chance to come back.
Okay.
Which team in NACL is the most fun?
Most fun? Cincinnati Fear, number 1.
Not number 1, but Cincinnati Fear is correct.
Yeah. Okay, I thought you were gonna say they were on there, and I was
that would be
what?
insane.
My number 2, my most fun team to watch is AOE Gold.
Ooh, AOE Gold is not on the list.
Dang it.
Wild card.
Yeah, that's a point for Alex.
I don't need to answer anymore. I'm done. I'll take the done. I'll
Is
take
Cloud9 on there as well?
Cloud9 is on there. Yes, it had 4 votes. And I'm gonna tell you really quickly. Wildcard had 19 votes at number 1. Cloud9 had 4 at number 2. So Twitter very clearly had bias on that one. But I am getting word that
you said most fun. I'm like, Wildcard's got to be number 1.
Fair enough. I mean, Alex is just in tune with the Twitterverse, I suppose. Take that however you will, Josh. And congratulations, Alex. Anyway, draft is ready to go, guys. Game 2 of Fear at AOE Gold. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, and Josh. It's actually because I'm a meme lord. I have a wizard hat and everything. Go. I had to go to wizarding meme school just to get this. Just so you know, I'm like a class 6. Just you don't understand what that means, but those out there do. So let's get into this game. Talk about what's going to happen and how we want to see this draft unfold and the changes we'd like to see for both squads. All right, the biggest change has got to be Faisal's Olaf. Honestly, with how willing and likely he is to pick it first, it's got to be banned there, that final ban for AOE.
Yeah, I have to imagine it comes through, right? Because, like, Gamsu's Gnar was fine into the lane. Seraphine was, I'm going to be real, guys, was not the problem that game. I mean, Cincinnati Fear should be slamming Olaf again here, and we'll see.
Expected. As expected.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Olaf. There's no rhyme or reason not to. He did such a good job with it. Even if he didn't smash to the lane phase like we'd expect into the Gnar, he's still Olaf and did Olaf things, which was 1v4.
Yeah, I mean, Seraphine is a pretty good force multiplier for what Fear drafted in the first half, but it's like, it's not as though Seraphine is the only way to support these kind of characters, and we will see. This was a Karma ban last time up against Trevor. Karma is one of the other best characters to pair with an Olaf, because you give them the shields, you give them the extra movement speed, and those are the stats
does
they
like
need.
to play. So.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of reason to like go this. I do like this change from Winnie. I know, actually, it's not a change. That's right.
It's a change, same.
It's the same. It's the same. I would have liked the Wukong. That's what I was thinking. And Perry to be on the Vi just to change it up. But with Maokai open, it wasn't picked last game. Seems that Perry is going to change things, not having the ability to play with that Seraphine like they did before, where they can have either Olaf or Wukong, that identity that they had wanted previously.
Oh!
And that's a mid lane Tristana. That's a Shochi special.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to go to Shochi, but it is most expected to be going to this guy. And honestly, from what Darkwings has been playing with a lot of the mages, it is really tough for a lot of them to play into the Tristana, just because you are just going to get out DPS.
You know it's not, though. Cassiopeia.
Yeah.
Cassiopeia's really good, and Darkwings plays it. I would have liked the Cassiopeia there. I think it still works really well, but Darkwings going onto Azir.
I'm going to be straight up. I'm not sold by this draft from AOE either, right? This is also a really tough matchup for the Azir to play to this Tristana.
It is tough, but I understand the idea with the Azir, at least in my mind, it's better than the Victor because it's better at least
True.
Creating space. And Olaf can't just Ragnarok through the wall. He actually has to walk around. It makes it a little bit more time, gives you a little bit more brevity and, not brevity, a little bit more space and breath that you can have when it comes to these fights so that you don't have to worry about just getting chased down.
I love the fact that we get an unironic Ziggs ban in this game as well, right? Because the Shochi doesn't have to play this Tristana. It can also be something that Manui plays, and Manui can also play the Ziggs. And Tristana Ziggs are my favorite compositions in the entire game. Because you just walk around, you blow up one turret, you walk to a different lane, you blow up the other turret. I put a video out a while back about, Mom, it's my turn to go blow up another turret. We walk top lane, we take another one, and then Ziggs just scales so hard into the game. APA knows this and will continue to see whether or not they go for it. But Cincinnati Fear, I like what they've got so far. The only problem that they might have is what you called out before with Azir creating a wall that Faisal might have to walk around. Azir was one of the champions I was hoping that they would pick on 3 last time around. We'll see if it's enough to actually survive the laning phase, because Fear are really throwing up a lot of questions that AoE's answers to are still, like, tentative. They haven't completely solved any of these problems.
Right, and that's something that AoE does need to fix. We saw glimpses of their capabilities in team fights, the shot callings that they had, but they were just so far behind at that point that it really didn't matter, and a lot of that came down to not understanding the champion pools and how to play around what Cincinnati Fear bring to the table. Yeah. They might not be as flashy as, say, the wild cards with going for the Garens, right, the Zags, but it's okay, Josh. It's gonna be okay. We got. You know what? You know what we got here for AoE?
What?
We got the late game!
Can we get there? It's always the question in these kind of spots. And, ooh. Go back to the Cassian, please.
Actually, that I would like that flex, even though Tristana is something Shochi likes to play. His Cassian's even better. So they are going to flex.
We no longer have the late game!
We no longer have the late game. So.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so we got to spin this positively, though. Let's spin this positively for both teams. I do like this draft a lot from Cincinnati Fear.
Oh, yeah.
Again, they have a lot of creativity when it comes to how they draft as a team. Not quite as spicy as the wild cards, but still, they have Faisal on one of his signature champions, Shochi on his signature champion, and Cassidy in this split. And then they even take away Skytech's Recon.
Yeah, I mean, everything that's coming through from Cincinnati Fear, one of my favorite things I've ever heard was from a YouTuber who talks a lot about the incident in Ukraine that is ongoing. But he always says you want to give your opponents dilemmas, not problems, because problems have a solution, dilemmas have 2 options, and both of them are going to be bad, and that's definitely what they've set up right now. AoE Gold, this composition was stock standard in 2022 summer for a lot of it, right? All these champions were very, very strong, but now you have a dilemma. If you use everything to get a fight started going up against Faisal and Parry, how are you going to be dealing with Shochi and Manui on the other side of the fight, right? Cincinnati Fear are creating so many dilemmas for AoE to try and solve, whereas AoE's composition, it is very good, but it is very unwieldy. It is very difficult for them to kind of change directions and suddenly turn to fight a different angle all of a sudden. So AoE, again, just like Game 1, they need to be the ones dictating when fights are actually happening, and that's going to be a tough task for them to accomplish it.
This is where I will say I do like this Renata as the final pick. You look at Cincinnati Fear, that is a lot of low range. Even if Tristana does have range as the game scales on, she wants to kind of be dodging into the fight, jumping all around. And Renata Gloss does a great job of making sure that they get zone control. The Ornn is going to help for non-committal engage as well. The Azir to split up the fight, make it a little bit easier for them to focus on just some of those members that you were talking about, not the whole entirety of Cincinnati Fear. And so I do think the Renata kind of helps fix a lot of those issues we had seen. But it really is going to come down to how Cincinnati Fear play out these early games, utilize some of their power that they have with champions in pretty much the right hands. The Shochi, Cassidy special, the Faisal, Olaf special, even Manui going back to his roots with Tristana.
Yeah. But I also kind of want to say to Chad, I want to apologize for doubting Fear and saying that I thought AoE was favored. Something that I had not really factored in was just how strong Fear's drafting was going to be in this series. Like, it feels like they have won the draft in both games pretty much like unequivocally, like there's not a whole lot of wiggle room there. Now AOE are once again in a position where they have some scaling elements, they have some tools by which they can actually win these lanes, but it's not easy. They have to really outplay their opponents, and while Lynx and Skytech have done a good job of that historically, they weren't able to do it last game due to the fact that Perry came down and interrupted their laning phase early.
So, I think we got to take our eyes back to the jungle matchup like we had done in Game 1. Look at where Perry is pathing. Look at how Winnie is pathing. How these two junglers are going to match up. Especially because Perry playing this Maokai, a lot of zone control that you can gain from the champion so long as you're ahead. But it's also not like we're expecting AoE to somehow get a huge lead and gain full control of the map that would deny Maokai those corners of the map that they want to secure.
Yeah. This is good from Lynx and Skytech, once again taking early control of the lane to try and push Manui and Trevor out. Remember that Trevor took the battle dance, so they are going to have to be running away instead. They can't really go forward. They don't have any sustain built into their lane just quite yet, and Lynx and Skytech are taking full advantage. But Perry, very similar path to what we saw in the first game in order for them to move down towards the bottom side and go for another early gank. But this time, Lynx and Skytech did not make the same mistake. They have the ward in the river early.
I like the message to Darkwings and for the fans of AoE. I trust in Darkwings to make this an AoE win. By the way, for everyone out there, you know, you can always go to Twitter. As long as you tweet it with a hashtag NICL about the games, try to get your tweets up on the stream. We're looking at Perry, looking at the spot lane. Jumped
level 2, they got
There's
it.
going to be the level 2. One for Trevor, waiting for a Manui. That's a fat minion wave. All he needs to do is get one more minion. Probably is going to be able to get it, but there's going to be the flash in. The flash away. Skytech holding onto his this entire time, but bounced around. He'll be the sacrificial lamb to first blood. Trevor getting that with Ignite.
And the same game plan coming through from Fear. They come down, they get the first blood, they turn around some of the misfortunes that they were having early on in the lane, and they get a kill onto their bottom lane yet again. This feels the exact same game plan coming out from Fear in a very similar style of draft.
It's Perry's pathing once again, utilizing the fact that he's got a good wave clear and seeing how far shoved in Lynx and Skytech are with the frozen lane.
Yeah. I mean, not being able to get that wave underneath the turret and back out is the crucial part of this, right? Good root coming out from Skytech. Unfortunately, it's just not enough when you have the damage. Manui doesn't even have level 2 during this fight. That is how far forward they were and how well Manui and Trevor were able to manipulate the lane.
Skytech also held on to both summoners the entire time, not wanting to waste them. Winnie, at least trying to answer in the spot lane. Looking for this play. There's a minion wave that should be crashing here. Way. It's gonna, Darkwings has to be here for this play to work. It's a hard lane to dive, especially because you have a lot that you can dodge away. Looking at Manui, rocket jump forward. Here's Darkwings on the other side, bouncing him around. They got the kill of the TP. A little too late for Shochi to answer anything back, but they look for the grand entrance. Trevor takes a lot of damage for his troubles.
Yeah, great stuff coming out from Winnie, flashing over Trevor to actually get the knockup on the important target. And that will, recoup a lot of the issues that they had earlier on and put them back in a position of power. But still, AoE's job is not done. They need to continue snowballing this. They need to use the fact that Shochi and Manui are not going to be strong on that first item to really take over this game. Winnie's done the first part correct. Now they need to bail out the top side.
Junglers, this is what we asked them to do. How they were going to impact the game, and both of them made successful ganks work out. But unfortunately for both ganks, the supports were the ones to get both kills.
True.
Even though, kill's a kill. I'll say kill's a kill. It doesn't matter who gets it as long as you get it in the golden pockets of the members. You'd like to see that start to get translated into someone like Lynx or Manui.
Yeah.
Especially for AoE. Lynx, I think, needs to get a lot of this gold early into the game to deny Manui that capability of just looking at a terror and taking it immediately.
Yeah. And this wave state is really good. Shochi has flash.
Okay, but they're going to get the Vault Breaker. That's a lot of damage. Just hold on to the flash this entire time.
Nice.
Feels confident enough never to use it.
I mean, that's really good that Shochi is able to hang on to the flash, but this wave position is a huge boon for AoE, but
well, they were trying
Harry
to
and Trevor.
Be very, very quiet.
Hunting supports. Wait, did they see Trevor and Perry?
They saw Manui and Manui.
They saw Manui.
They don't know Perry and Trevor are here. So here's the rocket jump over with a knock on Skytech. Bounced around for days. Couldn't even get the bailout in time. So both him and Winnie die. With Lynx watching on in horror.
God. Oh my god, the vision differential coming
Tragedy.
through, being such a huge win coming out for Fear. Faisal gets that. He should be able to walk away as well. He just stands underneath the turret to pick up the plate.
He's just standing there.
Menacingly. AOE.
Alright, Lynx,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
No flash. He's got heal. Thumbs up. It's not okay.
Oh my, and the instant W out as well from Minui.
Well, yeah,
the way
it's
that they've
Tristana.
played around this bottom lane, we were saying that they were playing around Faisal before. Perry has been giving so much pressure to the bottom lane. And again, please, can we get the other vision?
Yeah, let's switch it around. If we can switch it around to see. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, we gotta go back to
in.
live. We gotta go back to live because that's gonna be the Vault Breaker onto Perry. Empress Defied, looking for a bit of gold on top of the tree to cut him down, just in time for Dragon.
Yeah, battling back a little bit. AOE, at the very least, trying to get a little bit of gold. I mean,
There's
it's
nothing
the
happening.
belief
Can we
in
go
Dark
back to the
Wings.
replay? I want to go back to the replay.
That would be great.
I
But-
really want to see that vision because how tragic it is. It's so tragic that Minui was the only one spotted out by the Scryer's Bloom.
Yeah, there we go. I love the smites coming out from Lynx as well to make sure that they can pick up the dragons. But so far, I mean, this bottom lane is in a
Here we go,
tough
here we go,
spot.
here we
We
go.
can see the vision again. Man, this is another one of those things that is just absolute. Oh, they did! They did!
Oh no! They spotted them! Why would... Oh no.
There's no way, man. There's no way.
You know what? Mistakes happen. Maybe they thought... I think they thought the blast cone was taken by Perry and Trevor, that they went back to the lane, thinking, okay, it's going to be a 3-man here. We don't want to fight
Wow.
this around the tri-bush.
I mean, it's a mistake, yes, but that's also one that you can just like look at them and be like, it costs you maybe a minion to walk around the other way in order to get back into lane, right? That's one of those big wins coming through, and the decisiveness from AOE comes back to bite them. They say, hey, we're gonna go walk through, but like Skytech didn't even check the bush with any abilities.
No, he didn't even try to scout it out.
Yeah.
Use his Q, see if the missiles would even do anything.
Yeah.
Right? But
And now
it's one of
look how
those...
fat Minui is.
That's going to be the big problem. Is last game, it was a Faisal diff. This game, it's looking like a Minui diff.
Yeah.
As long as Minui can continue this power with this Tristana, we talked, like I was even talking about, you want to get this gold on the Lynx to make sure you deny Minui his capabilities to look at tower and take it instantly. And he's already at a level where he's looking quite powerful. Sure, it's only 9 minutes into the game, but this is Minui on Tristana. He could jump in like this, scare off Dark Wings. There is not going to be the fight now. Faisal forced to pop Ragnarok 1v2. This time not looking
got
as
him.
clean with the
Oh,
Ignite
the
chicken.
shield!
Forced to use the ult to make sure that Faisal will fall as Perry and Shochi are on their way to the top lane. No ults were there. That's why when he had to flash to make sure he got out.
Yeah, I mean, Shochi walking up, turns around before, and when he unfortunately doesn't know that, but still, I love the fact that AOE are trying to fight back in this game. And remember, the one place that we were excited about on Twitter was the fact that Dark Wings might be strong enough on this Azir. I like his Azir way better than his Victor. He's got a 20 CS lead, partly because when they both went towards the bottom lane, the wave was frozen for them in the mid lane. That
It
put
was actually
Shochi
starting
really
to
far
improve even
behind.
before that.
True.
Dark Wings has been doing a good job of controlling this lane phase. He's making sure that Shochi's having a miserable time. But then again, that's not what... I mean, Kassadin, if you're able to fight level 1 and 2, that's something I learned about Kassadin a long time ago. It's how powerful his 1 and 2 are. But then he falls off again until he hits about level 11.
Yeah,
That's when
I
he
mean,
starts coming back into the game.
He's strong if your opponent is forced to fight you in melee range, right? Like that.
Well, forced to fight you in melee range, sure.
Yeah.
But it's also, he wants to win lane right away. And if he can't do that, he's got to wait until he gets some more levels. Wait until you're not going to get poked out, because right there, you have 2-level lead for Dark Wings. He's got the experience game. He's got the CS lead. He's got all power mid lane to make sure Shochi, if he does rotate around, is going to fall further behind.
And remember, we've also seen a lot of games, multiple games coming out from Shochi of this Kassadin historically, right? The last time that they played it was up against IMT. He went 9-2 in that game, right?
That's why I got banned for a while afterwards.
And it was just blind, too. Like, they're just willing to throw things down right away, but we're seeing another play coming through from Perry and Trevor, who have been moving together so well. That's another thing that has really put some of the top teams in the positions that they are, is because their jungle support, synergy, and their willingness to move around together has been very difficult for a lot of other teams to match.
Now Faisal looks in danger again. Like this look from AOE. Last game, his Olaf was difficult. There, when he learned his lesson, he's like, I'm not going to just go back into range when I'm low against Faisal. Here's going to be the ult, looking for the knockup. They get it, so they can get the punch, and could not slice him down. A killing spree for Winnie, but bot lane, the answer. Looking for the play onto Lynx and Skytech. TP coming in. Is it going to be in time?
Oh, they're hitting each other.
Takeover, double knockup, eliminating the bot lane too fast. As Darkwings puts them back in, looking for parry, but he's got to be careful of Manui, taking a lot of damage from that. He'll survive, but no, he won't. Triple kill for Manui.
God, it was a triple kill that blew open the game last time for Faisal. Now he's struggling to find his way back in, but Fear has another basket to put all their eggs in. Manui has had so much gifted towards him from his jungle and support. They go for another dive. They go for another opportunity, and this looked really tough at the beginning, right? A fantastic ultimate from Skytech slows down the fight so much, but the person who's able to just do a ton of damage all at once is just Manui, right? I was a little bit worried about this because I thought that Manui had spent too much of his damage on the turret before it actually started and didn't have the explosive shot to really start off this fight in the way that they want to. But once they get it off, Skytech still has the cooldown. They still take them down, and by turning on to Darkwings, there's not a whole lot left for them to do. You just gotta flash over the wall.
Flash over the wall. In fact, the wall didn't hit him either to put him back underneath the turret, taking a lot of that damage. Helped out Manui. And now, as you talked about, it was a triple kill in game 1. That put Fear ahead, and it seems like triple kill in this game to really cement that lead they have, especially for Manui. 5-1. Already has gotten his mythic completed, working on his second item. Just 12 minutes into the game, the dragon starting up. AOE going to get rooted up, and here's the grand entrance with the quickness and the buster shot, but they've got the lockdown in the backline on Manui. They've got to kill him. He's finally falling. He took one with them, but now the rest of the fight, there's so much to bounce around. You kill them, but what does it matter when you have to deal with Cassidy as well? The saplings, they're taken away, and Shochi wants this one. He's waiting for that rift walk once more to dash back in range of Q, flashing forward.
Damn, man, there are so many threats on Fear right now. When Faisal's not having a good game, Shochi and Manui are stepping up. Shochi cleaning things up, and he's not even level 11 yet. He hasn't even hit his power spikes. He's still sitting on components, but 7 stacks already on the Dark Seal. The way that these guys are creating dilemmas for their opponents with no good answers over and over again is really impressive so far. We can take a look at this one, right? You can either finish the dragon and take a horrible fight, or you can give up space on the dragon and maybe take a fight after that. I mean, good stuff immediately coming out from Skytech to stop Trevor from taking over the game, but there are too many people that you have to worry about. As Shochi is just able to get in. Manui goes too far forward, but it doesn't even matter. He's got the damage down that he needs to. Darkwings doesn't have his damage online just quite yet, and then Shochi is just able to run amok.
And it's as you said, you have so many threats on Fear that you have to deal with. First it was Manui. They killed the raid boss. They forgot about the Kassadin, and the Kassadin was virtually untouched that entire fight because how much had been poured to stop Manui.
And he's caught up to Darkwings both in terms of CS and gold, right? He is even again, and now Darkwings needs to be really careful.
Yeah, it's no longer like how it was before Darkwings, where you absolutely were dominating Shochi in the lane. Sure, you can poke him out for a little bit longer, but he's level 10. Level 11 is a big point of power, plus that run of ages having been completed. We're looking at Fear, the double threat they have, where Faisal might have been put behind so they can't have the triple threat. But really, you just need Cassidy or Tristana to be doing well, and they're both doing fantastic.
Yeah, and now Winnie and Darkwings, the 2 strongest members of AOE in this game, ripping up together to get that little bit of extra gold, but probably going to get traded for pressure on the other side of the map. Yeah, Perry's already on the Rift Herald. They're taking the mid lane turret. It's a small victory, but so much more is going over to Fear at this point. The top side of the map, top quadrant has been completely lost. And again, I'm so impressed by the adaptability that Fear have had.
Now we're looking at this dive onto Gonsu underneath this turret. He takes a lot of damage for his troubles. Manui was there just in case to make sure they couldn't turn that one around. This game, every lane now fully in control of Fear. Even if mid lane looks like AoE might be able to topple a structure, they've lost out on any control they have, especially when you have a couple members group up for Fear.
Yeah, small root, not going to mean anything, as Fear is going to start bringing their members back towards the mid lane. But I like the fact that AoE are still trying things. But
yes,
I kind of want to go
too,
back.
Josh. I do too, Josh.
Yeah?
But it's also a 5,000 gold lead at 16 minutes into the game. At what point do all these attempted plays that aren't working matter if you're consistently falling behind?
No, they don't. They are effectively lost at this point, right? Like, just it's partly the draft, but it's also the fact that Fear were able to repeat the game plan from game 1 and dominate with it, right? It was the exact same path from Perry, the exact same early gank that they went for, and AOE just didn't have an answer for it. They tried to get the ward down early on, saying, oh, we have solved the problem that we had in game 1, but they hadn't. Perry was just willing to go for it anyway, and that's a different kind of decisiveness that we love seeing. If your opponents haven't dealt with it the first time, like, just do it again.
All right, well, Perry was trying to wave clear by himself in mid lane. He will be punished for his aggressions against society. A little bit of gold picked up by AOE, but really nothing lost. Look at bot lane, that massive minion wave that is starting to crash towards that tier 2 in the bot lane. Faisal should be able to help escort a massive minion wave towards the tier 2 in top lane. They are the ones forcing the hands of AOE, and this is something I was praising AOE beforehand. Even when they're behind, they're usually the team that dictates the pace of the game. Winnie being a big factor about that, right? Someone who always is leading the charge. This is not that game. This is a game where it's all about reactions from AOE. And even if they have scaling on their side and they are okay with the game lasting a little bit longer, they have to stop this bleeding. Because right now, it is not just a small little cut. They have lost an arm.
Yeah. It's also important to note that one of the big things about the AoE game plan that has gotten them wins, that also gotten them losses, is when they are looking so much for all of these plays, it's oftentimes at the cost of farm in the side lanes, right? You are oftentimes bringing an extra person in order to try and make the play happen, who is now going to be missing out on a wave here, a wave there, and, well, you know, a single wave usually isn't going to make or break the game. Doing that 3 or 4 times over the course of the game, that's a kill that you're already giving up, and it just makes the game harder to play out if your plays don't work. And we've had enough of the plays turned around by Fear at this point that they end up being in a really rough position. And so, I mean, I'm excited that we have different heroes coming out on the team in Shochi and Minui. Now we just gotta wait for Minui to just start blowing people up, because they've already got the Infinity Edge item too.
The one thing, though, with Fear is it does seem that they always have this lull. They get these leads, and they have a little bit of a lull in when they want to make a play. Granted, not much to play for on the Rift besides playing around the dragon that they are looking for at the moment. But it gives ample opportunity for AoE to look for a proactive play. To try, see if they can take some turrets back for themselves, get a little bit more gold. Even if it's sacrificing a dragon, it's only a second dragon that Fear will pick up. That's actually a worthwhile trade to help AoE stay relevant as they look to scale.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different teams, right? This is something that we were talking about Wildcard earlier, where they do draft very heavily to get into these scaling positions, and Shochi and Minui are definitely scaling very hard as Darkwings.
Darkwings, that's going to be the ghost pop. Has to flash away, but Faisal's not done. He's a fast
too, baby.
He is chasing it down. He's got it all. The Ragnarok does not stop. He is immune to everything. That's Fear now. Bot lane are attempting to play at the same time with 4 of their members. Couldn't get Shelly to crash onto the inhibitor, but they got what they needed to. The treasure already accrued from that tier 2.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a spot on the top side where Faisal, he's just running down. He's trying to get Darkwings to throw the ult out as well, and then he just finds a spot where it's like, well, if you haven't ulted now, I am too close. Your ult will not knock me back or create that terrain for me to walk through, because you've waited too long to do it. Darkwings ends up paying for it with his life. And even though there's no more objectives to pick up, it gives Fear so much control around this upcoming Baron, so they can start creating space where AoE can no longer dictate whether or not the fight will happen.
Exactly, and this is the problem. And to talk about chase down potential, Shochi, level 12, scaring away Skytech, forced to use the empowered last... Okay, why hasn't they come up with new names for, like, these empowered plants, right? Everything else usually gets a new... Are there? I've just heard it's like empowered this, empowered that.
I think that's mostly because we don't know what they are, right? It's kind of like with like Moss Stomper or Moss Stomper or whatever, like the green one is. Yeah, like I still hear people call it Bulbasaur because like we just it's like I don't know. That's the only one that's name is known. Like there's the blue one, and then there's the red one. I don't know either of their names.
I knew him for a second, but I forgot. But let's talk about what's happening right now, which is a fight. They already blow up Skytech on the other side with Gamsu, taking so much damage as well. Looks for the double knockup. It's Lynx getting focused underneath the turret. Has a shield, could survive, but they have low health bars on Fear. Waiting for the snipe.
Manui's
they gotta
resets.
pick up somebody, but Shoji survives, and here's Darkwing's running, but it's the resets you talked about for Manui. Everyone is alive still on Fear, and with the Baron being up, you know what time it is.
Yeah, it's Baron time, baby. Cincinnati Fear completely blowing this game apart. Same game plan, game 1, game 2. They come up, and this time, again, as we were so busy talking about Pokemon, I mean, AOE, they try and make this play. Gamsu, unfortunately, not landing anything, and they just get too far forward. They don't have the vision control. They don't know where the members of Fear are. And I like the fact that they try and pick up Shochi here, because he's got a pretty big shutdown to grab, but they just don't have the damage for it. Darkwings isn't able to get in range.
Can't get in range, and even if he could, he would die too quickly. Look at just a couple crits from Manui were enough to get him down to 25% health. I think it was just 2 autos got him that low. He's already got 3 items. Manui is so far ahead of the curve in this game. Same with the rest of Cincinnati Fear. Even if Faisal got a lot of the attention for the team, he's back in this game. He's doing Olaf things.
Yeah, it's nuts. So the fact that Faisal picks up some kills and now also has his way back in, has the Radiant Virtue to keep both himself and his teammates relatively healthy, this game is already chalked up to a Fear victory at this point. It would take a wild play for AOE, and it is still mostly on the back of Darkwings to be that wild play. Was it Darkwings that actually beat Team Liquid Academy last year? No, it was Spyrax. It was Spyrax that did it.
Spyrax, but it was Darkwings did the Cassiopeia one before.
Yeah. We've seen crazier things, but I think a lot of teams have kind of learned their lesson since then.
I would hope so. Especially when you look at this game, 10,000
okay, here we go.
lead.
They got Manui.
They've got Manui. They've got to kill him, and then they got to turn their attention onto other carries. Bouncing around Trevor, not the carries that they have to worry about. It's going to be Faisal on the other side. Shochi's not a part of this fight. That's actually going to work out with that blast cone, saving everyone on Fear. So they only trade the ADC, which is a bit of shutdown. Picked up by AOE. They look for other plays because they've got to get something. They're grasping at straws. A little too late on that Emperor's Divide. You couldn't get through the Ragnarok. So Faisal on his killing spree. Chochi opening up the base. Cincinnati Fear might have lost the ADC, but they got more than enough carries.
I mean, we'll see if AOE, if they can defend all of their inhibitors, this is a successful defense, but they have a whole nother minute, and Shochi should be able to get out of this.
Should be able to, but he is taking a long time to get out of here, and here's Winnie. Point and click. Oh, he doesn't have the ult just yet. Trying to protect. Nice use of the stopwatch to deny with the grand entrance. Getting the double knockup. Shoshi's damage onto Gamsu. Trying to get the brittle stacks onto him. He went back in, but he missed. As he was able to get a little bit more distance, waiting for the Vault Breaker, connecting onto Trevor, using his own grand entrance. And again, Shochi, he's just so hard to kill.
Up.
You can't get to him.
His ult's almost up.
Got it. He's trying to fight. He's trying to kill Shochi.
He gets it.
He got it. Looking for Trevor as well, but even if you kill him, it's Manui here to save his support.
Oh, that's still a lot of gold. They picked up a shutdown multiple times. They got one onto the AD carry. They got one onto Winnie. Suddenly, that's a lot more money, but it's still 10,000 gold down, Magical.
I was about to say, you have these shutdowns. You get these plays to work, and what did you gain? Absolutely nothing.
The gold difference is smaller.
It's not. It's still 10K. That's huge.
It's still huge. Yeah, I mean, Fear have done so many things right up until this point that it's really not going to make a difference. 4 members already cresting 10K, and there's literally not a single player on AOE who can match that. Lynx is close, but they just do not have the damage to take down this front line. They do not get to choose the targets that they're actually going to be hitting. AOE has the ornaments starting to come through, but it feels like so little, so late.
I do still like this from AOE. They are giving up. Props to this team. If they can keep making these plays, these miracles happen. They've got to roll. They got to pretty much roll doubles for the next 15 minutes if they want to win this game. Never tell me the odds, Josh. Never tell me the odds.
It's like less than 1%.
Never tell me the odds,
Shochi is level 16.
Never tell me the odds.
Well, that one's funny because of repetition.
Yes. As long as you say it but louder, it gets funnier.
Yeah. So, anyway, Fear doing a good job continuing to keep themselves up towards the top of the standings and definitely kind of upsetting a lot of my expectations coming into this. And the fact that we have so many different players who have done well has been one of the biggest shining points here for Cincinnati Fear. It's so hard to shut them down, but one of the big things will become, will they be able to deal with the fact that their bottom lanes have been giving up quite a bit in order to make Perry's ganks work? If Perry's ganks don't work, that might become a problem later.
Oh, that's going to be Nature's Grass getting a lot of damage, already taking out Winnie. Your engage tool is gone. It's a triple knockup from Gomsu, which is huge, but look at the damage in the backline. They have so much they can utilize. Fear are hitting him with the Bankus Manui. The Chad diving all the way inside of the base. Gomsu will be the only one to watch the base go to tatters to the 2-0 dominating provisional team that is Cincinnati Fear.
We were saying that AOE was a team built not to be relegated. Fear is rapidly overtaking them in this. The head-to-head going over towards the Cincinnati boys. And they are in a position where they are now 11-3. That is going to put them up right there at the top with all the other teams that are continuing to jockey for that position.
And even with, we could argue the strength of the schedule, all that jazz, they're still doing really well. They've got some tough opponents ahead of them still, like Dignitas Challengers and Cloud9 Challengers. But they've put themselves with a good cushion that they can work with. Even if they get 0-2'd by either team, or if they just take a game off of them, they can stay well above everyone else in the standings. Props to them, and they played absolutely amazing in these series. Faisal in Game 1, Manui and Shochi in Game 2. Josh, we're going to toss it at break so we can get ready for our interview with the successful and victorious Cincinnati Fear, so make sure you all stick around.
Welcome to another episode of On the Range. Now, we've been acquiring a lot of land, but it's time for these critters to start marking their territory. One of the most active has been Evil Genius's Shaden. Let's see if we can catch him, shall we? I think I see him right over there.
Alright, sorry, what were you saying we gotta think about as Shaden is getting picked right now? Never mind. I think he's gonna 1v3 here. He's got enough to drain tank. Goose dead. Double kill to Shaden in a 1v3. Are you kidding me? Lunasia's trying to jump in there, but not with Robbie Bob's help. That's an easy triple to Shaden.
A little bit tricky right here. Robbie Bob does have the heroic entrance. Justice Punch gets a knock about NXI. NXI trying to get away. Camille getting in with the ultimatum. 1-for-1 trade. Still going forward. It's going to be Evil Geniuses. And Shaden will tear apart the backline with a triple kill for the Geniuses.
Some critters you gotta wrestle, but some critters you just gotta dance.
All right, now we're gonna teach you the para-carry. So first, you grab your cowboy hat, you're looking for prey. You're looking for prey. Then you gotta get your lasso ready, get it real tight now. Wind that sucker up and let it go. But freeze! And do a little dance, do a little dance, do a little dance, do a little dance. And now you've learned the para-carry.
Control of their own side of the map.
At least Yuji is able to steal away that.
Oh, he gets it! What?
What? LeBlanc, he's only ever lost plays before he can actually
He's alive.
They are the team
really
to
good.
beat.
You have two abilities that can proc it.
There's no mechanical misplay.
anytime
Front lane, and now Jimenez. Oh,
I'm in here. He wants the hoon going down right now. Looks
Do the split, and oh boy,
Woo-wee! These critters starting to establish themselves out there. They're still gonna need some wrestling though. Make sure you come by next time for another episode of On the Range now. You hear? Ooh.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here for the Verizon post-match interview. It's going to be with Minui, the 80 carry for Cincinnati Fear. Minui, congratulations, first of all. You're coming off of honestly, a pretty convincing 2-0 finish. I think that's the first question I want to ask you. I mean, we were all talking about it. Some people even said on Twitter how this was one of the hypest matches we had on this stream today, and you guys weren't interested in any of that hype. You just rolled them. Was this the expected outcome? Did you think AOE would put up more of a fight?
To be honest, when we scrimmed them, we haven't scrimmed them in a long time, but after scrimming them, every game one would just be a complete stomp. So we knew that we were the better team for sure, and in our hearts, we just knew that we would crush them in the 2-0 today.
I love that. I mean, the confidence clearly paid off for you guys, and it was a pretty good showing overall. You guys are now 11-3, back to contending or very close to contending first place with Dignitas. But we'll get to that in a moment. What I want to ask you next is that we saw two different styles for you today, and I think lately you're starting to play these carry champions, and of course we saw you on the Seraphine. Is this the thing you've been working on? Is this something more important that you've been working on recently?
No, well, so this week we didn't get that much practice. We probably only got, like, realistically one real scrim the entire week. So we kind of had to improvise on stage on what to pick, and maybe people don't know, but I'm a big mage player bot lane too. Like, I play all the things like Seraphine, Ziggs, and other mage champions. So I just thought, like, if people are blind picking Varus, and I have my Faisal top lane, like the guy's just cracked out on his champions, I might as well play some supportive champions to help support him.
Fair enough. I mean, you were definitely supporting him in game 1, and then it looks like the roles were reversed in game 2, so it was a good showing either way. The next thing I want to ask about you guys is that, you know, talking to some of you guys, Shochi in particular highlights this. Tell us more about, for those who don't know, that experience you guys have all living together. You guys have a team house. I believe you said it was in California, Ontario. You guys are basically just are so regimented with everything you're doing. How has that been for you? Especially now we're going into week 3 of what I imagine is this schedule.
Yeah, it's been a great time, honestly, having everyone here together. We're all vibing, we're all bonding. We go to the gym every day, we work out. Our performance coach helps us. We're staying healthy, we're eating healthy. Everyone's feeling good every day. We have people keeping us accountable in scrims, outside of scrims. Even if we have any arguments or anything, we instantly solve that by talking to each other the same day, so that conflicts don't stay there, and then we just able to grow.
I love that. Team vibes, super important. And really quick follow-up to that one, too. Shochi said living on his own, everything like that was a new experience. Is this a new experience for you, living and taking care of yourself away from family and things like that?
Yeah, to be honest, I was kind of a mom's boy. Like, I never actually left my mom. So this is probably the first time I've ever left my mom or my family in general. And honestly, being independent has its ups and downs. I definitely miss my family, but they're also there to support me. Yeah, great experience.
We love that. So was it difficult for you to adjust? Was there a period where it was hard, or you just kind of hit the ground running?
Not really, because funnily enough, my parents live pretty near to us.
Okay.
Yeah, to our house. So if I really want to see them or anything happens, I can always go back home. But yeah, it was not that hard, in my opinion. It was.
All right, love to hear that. And it's great that you have that access to your family so close by. So the last question that I want to ask you before we start to wrap things up is, like I hinted at earlier, you were contesting Dignitas. I don't know the results of their match against EGC that was happening alongside yours, but you're right up there, either in first place or fighting for it with Dignitas. You play them next week. Are you excited about that matchup? Tell me your general thoughts.
Of course. Pretty good friends with their coach, ZZ Legendary. And I tell this guy every day that we're going to beat them 2-0 every single day. And I really just want to beat him 2-0 and show him what's up, because he's kind of underestimating us. And in my opinion, if he underestimates us, you're going to lose.
I mean, so far, a lot of teams, I think, have paid that very price. But you're going to be laning against Tomo and Diamond, especially, I think, two very experienced bot laners. Are you concerned about that matchup at all? Do you have a plan? Are you just confident, comfy, no chance in the world they beat you? What are you thinking?
Yeah, for sure. I played with Diamond in some tryouts, and he was definitely pretty good and a good leader. And for Tomo, playing against this guy in Champions Queue, he's always really good. Like, the guy's cracked. And back then, maybe I'd say I'm a bit scared, but now I'm pretty confident in my own abilities. So I think it'll be a good matchup. I don't think it'll be too one-sided for either side. And I hope I can have a good showcase against him.
I love that. And just to be clear, you're saying 2-0. That's the outcome next week for Fear.
2-0. I said it. 2-0.
That's what I like to hear. Before we close things out, Minui, any last shout-outs you want to make to team, friends, whoever?
Shout out to all the haters first for always doubting us. We're going to exceed expectations. We're going to get number 1. We're trying to win the whole thing. We're not going to fall off. Shout out to all the haters. And then shout out to all my teammates and all my family and friends.
Love that. Thank you so much, Minui. That's going to be it for the Verizon post-game interview. Thanks again, Minui, for taking the time, and good luck next week.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to throw things to a short break now as we get set up for our second series of the day.